Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to march forward through yet another season together. As always, you can find our 100% free, 24/7 boots on the ground coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars when you follow us on social media such as Facebook or Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. All right, folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about three things that I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars must improve at if they want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Now, the first one, I know I've been talking about it over and over again and over and over again. It's not a new problem, and you'll see that most of the things I mentioned here aren't. It's a problem that absolutely persisted throughout training camp, and it has reared its ugly head in the regular season. And that is the Jaguars' inability to push the ball downfield. Right now, this passing game is just not getting explosive plays. Unless it's coming with yards after the catch. You've seen some of those. Brian Thomas Jr. against the Texans a couple weeks ago. Bayshaw Tootin on a screen against the Bengals. Travis Hunter on his play against the Texans. That big 21-yard gain, catch and run. But otherwise, the Jaguars are struggling to pick up chunk gains on the ground. Through the first month of the season, Trevor Lawrence is 1 for 10 on deep passes, which is 20 air yards or more. Completed his first one of the season to Travis Hunter in Week 4 against San Francisco 49ers. He currently has a passer rating of 0.0 on deep passes. This is not something that was an issue for Trevor in past years. Like maybe some isolated games. You know, him in Week 4 against the Texans last year was just an absolute brutal showing for him as a deep passer. But otherwise, deep passing has been one of the things Trevor Lawrence has been best at over the years. And for whatever reason, that has just not been there for the Jaguars in any respect this year. The only quarterback throwing as poorly downfield as Trevor is right now is Bryce Young. And Bryce Young, it's understandable why he would struggle to push the ball downfield. Doesn't have a very strong arm. Isn't the biggest guy to begin with. You know, unless he's just throwing 9 balls, right off his hitch, he's not going to be pushing the ball downfield very much. But for Trevor Lawrence, it's been a big issue. It definitely feels like teams are focusing more on the Jaguars' run game. They're bringing a lot of people into the box. It feels like teams are challenging the Jaguars to try to beat them deep. And they've had chances. He had Brian Thomas Jr. against the Texans. De'Ami Brown was open against the Texans. Missed downfield shots in Week 1 against the Panthers. It is something that has been an issue for the Jaguars, like I said, since training camp. All training camp, they were struggling to hit the long ball. And I asked Liam Cohen after the Texans game, what does an offense have to do to start connecting on these deep passes downfield? And he said they have to start doing it in practice, which would imply that they've been pretty bad at it in practice. And they've played like a team that has struggled to do it in practice. So I think to beat the Chiefs, at some point you need to generate explosive plays. Because for as good as the Jaguars' defense has been to this point, the Chiefs at one point or another are going to hit a big explosive play. Patrick Mahomes is going to hit a bomb deep to somebody. And when that time comes, you need to be able to strike back. You can't beat the Chiefs by the way of a million paper cuts, like they beat the San Francisco 49ers last week. You can't. Because the Chiefs can still be a quick strike team. And the Chiefs, so far, at least by EPA per play, are the best defense in the NFL against the deep pass. So it doesn't feel like a good matchup for the Jaguars to figure that part of their offense out. But I truly feel like if they want to win this game, they need to take serious steps in that regard going into Monday night. Another area of improvement I think the Jaguars need going into Monday night is the pass rush outside of their top two guys. Josh Hines-Allen has been absolutely on a tear. He's been all over the place. I think he's played at a Pro Bowl level to start the season. He's been fantastic. Trayvon Walker, been very, very good as well. I think probably the best start he's had to a season. He's obviously banged up right now. Jeremy Fowler said he was week to week. We'll see what week to week really means. But definitely feels like he's going to miss Monday night. And he might, it also kind of feels like, miss week 6 against the Seahawks. And then we'll see if he's back for London. Outside of those two, though, the Jaguars have struggled to generate pressure. They've ran a lot of blitzes. You've seen Jordan Lewis, Devin Lloyd, Foye Oluokun, Dennis Gardeck, Eric Murray, Andrew Wingard. You've seen all these guys rack up some pressures. Because it feels like Anthony Campanile thinks that's what he has to do to get after the quarterback when he's not rushing his top two edge guys. The latter of whom it doesn't seem like he'll have on Monday night. I'll be surprised if Trayvon Walker plays on Monday night. That's not me reporting anything. It's just he was in a sling. All reports are it's a week-to-week injury right now. He went and saw a specialist. It just feels like Monday night's not going to happen for Trayvon Walker. And for the Jaguars to win, they'll need more than just Josh Hines-Allen to get after the quarterback. Eric Armstead will have to up his game. Dewan Smoot will have to up his game. Emmanuel Ogbah. Maybe you rush Dennis Gardeck more off the edge. Maybe you give B.J. Green more passing down snaps instead of Ogbah. So it's a lot for the Jaguars to consider. But I truly feel like, for one, the Chiefs have a stud left tackle, a stud center, a stud right guard. You need somebody who can beat up on their right tackle and Jawan Taylor and beat up on their left guard to generate pressure. I know Josh Simmons is a rookie, but he's pretty easily, in my opinion, set to be the best left tackle Josh Hines-Allen has seen so far at this point in the season. I know he just played Trent Williams. Trent Williams is a Hall of Famer, one of the best football players of my lifetime. But present-day Josh Simmons is better than present-day Trent Williams. That is just factual. Lastly, the last thing I think the Jaguars need to improve on to defeat the Chiefs is the penalties. The penalties have just gotten absolutely absurd, people. The holding penalties, the formation penalties, the illegal motions. It's gotten to a point where it's actively hurting the offense. The Jaguars are consistently getting behind the sticks on offense. Consistently having positive gains negated because of these penalties. And just like the deep ball, this is something that's been a problem for a while. You guys read my training camp stories. Penalties all over the place. In the scrimmage. In the second scrimmage. In the preseason. Liam Cohen was frustrated then. I can't imagine his frustration has subsided since then. So, if they want to knock the Chiefs off and give them their best shot, they can't shoot themselves in the foot over and over again like they have thus far with the penalties. Whether it takes discipline, whether it's taking some stuff off the plate, even doing less motion, whatever it is, the Jaguars need to figure it out. Because running with the amount of penalties that they've had, if they do that against the Chiefs, it will not end in a productive night. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Be back next time.